So first off, apologies for the audio. Normally I record to my phone, but unfortunately I need my phone for this video. So the audio might be a little bit crazy, not as good as it's used to, that kind of soft, dulcet tones. Um, so for this video, you are going to need some kind of USB connector to connect to your phone, and you're going to need a mobile phone, because what we're going to do is we're going to set up the Unity environment and your mobile phone to use as a remote control, so that you can use the features of your phone, like multi-touch and all that kind of stuff, to control the game while you're debugging. So rather than deploying to the device, we actually are going to use Unity Remote, and yeah, so that's what we're going to do today, is set this little puppy up so that we can get it going for debug and sort of testing purposes. So let's get started, and of course we start everything after the fade. Okay, step number one is to install Unity Remote 5 on your device. Now, this doesn't have to be a mobile phone. I mentioned there's a mobile phone at the top there, but it doesn't have to be a mobile phone. It can be anything you want, so long as it's an Android device. I'm only covering Android here. I might do a later video to cover iOS, but it requires a little bit more uh, in order to get it to work with this, and also you have to pay Apple $100 to do it. So it might be a later video, but for now we're only interested in Android. So install this on your device. If I click on install from here, this is the web interface. I can actually install it on my phone remotely. It's a nice little feature there, but you need this installed on your Unity device. Okay, so that's the step one. Next step, on your phone, open up the settings, and then scroll down to about this phone device and then tap on it. And scroll down to the build number and then keep tapping on it, and eventually it'll say something like in 2 taps you'll be a developer, in 1 tap you'll be a developer. I've already done it, so it says no need. So then you go back to the settings menu and you'll see a new option called developer options. Turn that on at the very top and then confirm by clicking on OK. Then scroll down and you'll see USB debugging. Turn that on and then confirm by saying OK. And then the next step is you want to connect that device to your PC using the supplied USB cable. Once you connect it, you'll be asked to confirm that you want to allow this PC to debug the device, allow USB debugging. You click on OK, and you should now, oh, sometimes it comes up with that. It comes up and reconfirms. And you should now see the USB debugging connected item in your notifications tray. And that's you. You're ready to start launching Unity Remote. Download the Java development kit. Now there's a couple of development kits here. The one that worked for me is this one here. Select which one you want. I guess most people will be in Windows 64-bit Windows, so you want the bottom one here, the one that I highlight. In fact, I can actually zoom in this. There you go, a little bit easier to read now. So the one that you want is the one that's highlighted there, which is the 8U101. But first you need to click on Accept License Agreement before you can actually download it. And once you do that, you click that, and then that will save that to disk and run through the installer, and it'll set everything up just fine. Next, we're going to download the Android SDK. Now, there's a couple of options here. The main one that they give you is download Android Studio. We don't actually want Android Studio. You're quite welcome to download it, and I'm sure it'll be fine, but it's a bit overkill, especially if we're not interested in doing any regular app development. So it also takes up 1.6 gigabytes, which you may not want. What we actually want is we just want the command line tools. So we don't need Android Studio. We just want to download the basic Android command line tools. And the command line tools that we want is, again, we have a couple of choices here. If you're on Mac, you have one choice, and if you're on Linux, you have one choice. But Windows has an installer and a zip file. all we want to do is we want to have the zip file, and then once it's downloaded, extract it to a place that you know. Okay, so once you've done that, you should then have something like this. So I have installed everything. I unzipped the Android SDK to a folder called Android SDK on my H drive. And inside here we have platform tools, which does not come as part of the initial download. In order to get that to work, we need to go into our tools folder here. So tools is part of the initial download. So if you double click tools, you'll see that there's a batch file here called android.bat. I want you to double click that, and this rather neat interface will pop up eventually. Just a sec. There we go. And it will show you what you have installed. Really, the only thing you want to install, you can get rid of most of this. You don't need the Android 7 SD. You don't need the Android 7 files. You just need Android SDK platform tools, which you can see there's an update available for it there. And if you are on PC and PC only, you should install the Google USB driver. And then that's it. Once you've done that, click on Install Packages. You'll be asked to confirm the license agreements. And then once you've done that, it'll install it in the background and everything will be hunky-dory. So I've started with a blank project here just to make things a little bit even. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to set up the external tools. So if you click on Preferences and then click on External Tools, I've already done this, so this is it's done for me. There's two slots here that we're interested in. Ignore the NDK one. The one that we want to set is the SDK for Android and the JDK for the Java Development Kit. So when you click on Browse, it probably won't take you to the Java Development Kit location. Sorry, why is this not? Oops. It probably won't take you to the Java Development Kit location, so you need to browse to where you installed your Android SDK. Okay, sorry, I said Java there. I meant Android. Sorry. So browse to where you located your Android SDK, and then it's the folder where all these other folders are located. So we have that set up there. And then the other one is the JDK. It should remember where you installed it, so you just need to click on Browse and then click on Select Folder, and then everything's good to go. Okay, so that's a one-time only thing you need to do inside the editor. Now I think the next one is per project. So in fact it is, because it's project settings. In order to get it to run on your phone, this guy here, we need to set the editor up to allow for that. So click on Project Settings, Editor, and then over here you see it says Unity Remote. You want to change that from None to any Android device. Okay. Now I am going to, where's my cord? I'm going to plug in my cable now. Now this is the sequence that I have figured out works 100% of the time, or at least 99% of the time. So I have my phone and I have my lead. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this here. All right, or at least here so you can see it. Now, the way I've figured out that it works is if you close Unity. If you have Unity closed just now, and then what we need to do is we need to go through the steps on our phone first. Okay, so let me get the phone right. Okay, so here's my phone, and I'm going to try and attempt this blind. So I'm going to click on Settings, then I'm going to scroll all the way down to Developer Options. You guys can't see that. There you go, that's a bit better. I'm going to scroll down to developer options, and then I'm going to turn them on, and then I'm going to turn on USB debugging as well. Okay, so it's that part of the video that you want to have a look at. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the cord, so the wire, whatever, connector. And now the wire's plugged in, and now it comes up and says, oh, you've plugged that in. Do you want to, okay, we can get that there, allow USB debugging? Yes, I do. And then it says USB charge only, and you just tap charge only and then leave it at that. Occasionally it comes up with that again. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but just click on OK again, and you'll see, where are we? Just there. That message there. Okay. So that's as we're good to go. Well, one more thing that we need to do to set it up is we need to scroll through to our Unity remote, and then we just tap that, and Unity remote starts up there. Okay. So we have everything we need to run. Okay, and now we can start Unity. So I'll start Unity up. Right, so this is our blank project. So we have our phone running. It's all connected up. Everything here is hunky-dory. If we want to test our settings, so let's say we want to test that our phone is actually connected, we can go to here. So if we go to our Android SDK platform tools that we installed in the previous sequence there, and do File, Open Command Prompt, that gets us there. And then to list the devices that are connected, we do ADB devices. So this is our Android debug bridge, ADB device. And then when we hit return, oh, sorry, devices, ADB, sorry. Let me do that again. ADB devices. So we want to list our devices that are connected to the computer. So we do that, and then we see list of devices attached, and it should say device. If it says unauthorized or offline or something like that, it means that something's gone wrong either with your cable, your connection, that kind of thing. So you'll need to do some debug steps to figure that out. So things like check that the cable is not just a charging cable, that it's an actual data cable. Make sure that your phone is got enough power to it. It's plugged in. The cable's not damaged in any way. Those are the kind of common things. It's okay. Let's write a little routine that's just going to display the number of the number of fingers that we put on the screen. Right. So we're just going to add a new script here. So I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible because I want to explore more about this in the up and coming videos, but this is just a test just to make sure that we have connectivity between our phone and our debug environment. So we're going to call this debug multi-touch. And then we're going to double click this and then start that up in Visual Studio, which is open in the other monitor. I'll just pull it over just a second. Once it is loaded, here we go. Alright, so here is our other monitor. Okay, so for our collections, we're going to use a generic collection, and that is going to be our string touch infos. So we're going to have our touch infos there, and then every time we touch on the screen, we're going to save that information to our touch information strings. So for each touch, we're going to have a string applied there, and then we're going to use that string to then display some information inside the GUI layer. So our update is going to be here. And again, this is very basic touch code, but it gives you a sort of example of kind of how powerful we can actually make this. So you can end up doing things like, Fruit Ninja, that kind of thing. So for int, actually the first thing we want to do is we want to clear touch infos. So every time we come into update, we want to clear that list, because every time you take your finger off the screen, then we want to register that that touch no longer exists. So for int I equals 0, I is less than input dot, and then we have a touch count. So number of touches guaranteed not to change throughout the frame, which is nice. So anytime we're inside input, we know that basically it's saying that if I check touch count up here, it's going to be the same as if I check it 200 lines later in the same method, or at least the same tick, which is a nice feature. I really wish it would stop removing braces, but never mind. So touch infos.clear. So for each of these, we're going to go and get the touch associated with this. So basically, every time you put your finger on the screen, it adds another element to that array. And what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through those fingers, those touches inside that array. So the touch object, actually I think it's a struct. So the touch struct gets returned back from get touch, which is also a part of input. Oops. So there is our get touch. So now we have information in here. So we're going to take this information and we're going to put this inside a string element in here. So string, and I'll call it temp equals touch number, and then it's going to be I plus 1, because we don't want a 0 element, we want a proper one. So we're going to do that at touch dot position dot toString. Is there any other nice information here? An estimated value of the radius of the touch. See radius variance to get the maximum touch size, subtract it to get the minimum touch size. Okay, let's see what the radius is, just to see what happens. And then we will add this to touch infos. Okay. So now for every touch we add a string to our list. So our on GUI is now just literally going to go through those strings and then display them as labels inside the GUI event. So for each string s in touch infos, sorry, I do apologize. I have been trying to remember to make the font size bigger. So apologies for that. So the GUI layout dot label s. Okay, so I'll leave this code up for just a second so that everyone can get a copy of it. So this is basically our entire class is just this. So if you want to take a snapshot of it, just pause the video right now. And yeah, you should get it there. So that's that, and I'm just going to add this to a new blank game object. So create empty, and I'll call this debug touch input, and I will add my debug script onto there, and I will then save my scene. So I'll call this multi-touch test, something like that. So now I have everything I need, and so when I press play, what I'm expecting is that I'll end up with a blue background on this phone. So I'll hold this up like that, and hopefully this will change when I hit the play button. Oh, there we go, it changed to blue. So now if you watch this screen up here, every time I put my finger on the screen, you see that we have our touch information. There's not much of information about the radius there, but you can see that we have 2 fingers there. So let's see if we can get 5 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So there's 5 fingers on the phone there. So there you go. There is using your mobile phone as an input controller for your game. So rather than having to build an APK, squirt that down to the phone, test it, find a bug, reiterate, keep doing that which takes time, you can just set up your mobile phone to use Unity Remote 5. And it works like a touch interface would. So it's perfect. So you don't need, really expensive. I mean, obviously, your phone, you've got your phone sunk charge cost into that, but yeah, it's a neat way to do it. So thank you very much for watching. That's all for just now, and I will catch you next time. Thanks again. Bye.